stand up. Go on, actually do it. Get up out of your chair. Did you hear that? That little sound. The crack, the click, the soft crunch, somewhere inside your knee, like someone quietly stepping on a packet of crisps. You're not 90, you might be 25. And a load-bearing joint in your body just made a noise that furniture makes when it's about to break. Somewhere, the engineer responsible for this should be feeling a deep sense of shame. Except, and this is the twist of the whole video, the knee is not badly made. The knee is genuinely one of the most impressive pieces of engineering you own. That's what makes it so tragic. It's not a bad joint. It's a brilliant joint that has been handed an absolutely impossible job and told to do it for 70 years, with no days off and no spare parts. Let me introduce you properly to the most overworked employee in your entire body. Think about what you're asking this one joint to do. At the same time, constantly, it has to carry your entire body weight. It has to let you bend and straighten smoothly thousands of times a day. It has to lock rigid enough to stand on for hours and stay loose enough to sprint. It has to absorb the shock every single time your foot hits the ground, which, if you walk a normal amount, is a few thousand small collisions a day, every day, forever. And it has to do all of that balanced on the end of two long bones, with essentially no bony socket holding it together. That last part is the problem. So let's look at how this thing is actually held together, because once you see it, you will never trust your knees again. Your hip is a proper joint, a ball sitting deep inside a socket. It's cradled in bone. It is genuinely hard to pull a hip out of its socket because the architecture is doing the work. Now your knee. Your knee is not a ball in a socket. Your knee is, roughly, one bone balanced on top of another bone. The end of your thigh bone is a pair of smooth, rounded lumps, and they sit on top of the flattish top of your shin bone. That's it. Two bones stacked, like a bowling ball resting on a dinner plate. Nothing about that shape wants to stay together. There is no deep socket. There's no bony cage. If you took the knee joint and removed the soft tissue, it would simply fall apart in your hands. So what's holding it together? String. Basically, string. The whole thing is lashed together with ligaments, tough little straps of tissue, and that is the entire security system. 4 main ones, a couple crossing over in the middle, a couple on the sides. They are strong, but they are, at the end of the day, a few bits of biological rope holding a bowling ball onto a dinner plate while you play football. And you have probably heard of one of them because it's the one that ends careers. The ACL, the one at the front center. When an athlete goes down clutching their knee with no one near them, no tackle, no contact, just a turn, and the stadium goes quiet, that's usually the ACL. It doesn't snap because someone hit them. It snaps because they planted a foot and rotated, and the string that was never really designed for a hard twist under full body weight simply let go. Your knee bends beautifully in one direction. Ask it to twist while you're standing on it, and you're rolling the dice. Now let's talk about the little hero that spends its whole life absorbing the punishment so your bones don't have to. The one you only ever hear about when it's already too late. The meniscus. You've got 2 of them in each knee. 2 little C-shaped pads of rubbery cartilage wedged between the thigh bone and the shin bone. Their job is to be the cushion, the shock absorber. Every step you take, every stare, every jump, they squash slightly and spread the load so that bone isn't grinding directly on bone. They are the doormat of your body. Everybody stands on them all day, and nobody thinks about them once, until the day one of them tears, and suddenly it's all you can think about. And here is the genuinely unfair part. The meniscus, in most of its area, has almost no blood supply. Now, why does that matter? Because blood is how your body does repairs. Cut your skin, it bleeds, it heals, because blood brings the repair crew. But most of the meniscus gets almost no blood flow at all. So when it tears, really tears, a big part of it simply cannot heal. It can't call for help. There's no one coming. You have a critical, load-bearing shock absorber taking thousands of hits a day for decades, and over much of it, if it breaks, it stays broken. That is a design decision that would get someone fired. And the same is true, quietly, of the smooth cartilage capping the ends of the bones themselves, the slippery stuff that lets the joint glide. It is astonishingly good, smoother than ice on ice. But it also barely repairs itself. You get a certain amount, and you spend the rest of your life very slowly using it up. Nobody tells you this at the start. There is no fuel gauge. So, let's ask the question this channel always ends up asking. If the knee is such a maintenance nightmare, string for support, a shock absorber that can't heal, cartilage you can't refill, why did evolution build it this way? Why hasn't it been fixed? And the answer, as always, is that it was never broken. We broke the deal. For almost the entire history of this joint, the knee was magnificent because of what it was being asked to do. Walking. A lot of walking at a steady pace on soft, uneven, natural ground. Dirt, grass, forest floor. Some climbing. The occasional sprint away from something that wanted to eat you. And then a long rest, because being eaten was the only deadline that mattered. On that job description, the knee is perfect. The ground is soft, so the shock is gentle. The pace is varied, so nothing wears in the same spot. You move all day, so the joint stays fed and oiled. This is a joint that was built, with real genius, for a very specific life. And then, we quit that life. Completely. In about 100 years. Look at what we actually do to our knees now. We took the ground, soft, forgiving earth, and we replaced it with concrete and tarmac. Every step now is a harder hit than anything the joint evolved to expect. Then we invented the stair, which is a machine for loading almost your entire body weight onto one bent knee, over and over, going down, which is the worst direction for it. Then, and this is the really stupid part, we stopped moving. We sit for 8, 10 hours a day in a chair with the knee bent at a right angle, the muscles around it slowly switching off and going soft. A joint that was designed to be used all day, gently, is now used almost not at all. And then, on Saturday, having sat still for a week, we stand up and go, you know what would be fun? A 10-kilometer run. On pavement. The knee at this point would be entirely within its rights to file a complaint. We took a joint that was engineered for all-day gentle movement on soft ground, and we gave it hard ground, stairs, 6 days of sitting, and then a sudden burst of violence. And when it complains, when it aches or clicks or swells, we call it a bad knee. It's not a bad knee, it's a superb knee, doing a job it never applied for. Now, before you panic and throw your chair out the window, an honest note, because this is a joint people worry about a lot, and worry itself isn't free. That clicking sound on its own is almost certainly nothing. It even has a name, crepitus, and for most people, most of the time, a knee that clicks or cracks but doesn't hurt is just a knee making noise. Little bubbles in the fluid, tissues sliding over each other. A quiet knee and a clicky knee can be equally healthy. The sound is not the enemy. What actually matters is pain, swelling, and a knee that catches, locks, or gives way. That's the difference between a joint making conversation and a joint asking for help. If it hurts, if it swells, if it stops trusting you mid-step, that's not a video, that's a doctor or a physio. They're very good at this. Knees are one of the great success stories of modern medicine, precisely because so many people wear them out. And the single best thing you can do for the joint is almost funny in how simple it is. The knee was built for gentle, frequent movement, so give it some. The muscles around it are its real support system, far more than the string ever was. Keep them strong. Keep the joint moving. Don't go from a week of sitting straight into a sprint, and this overworked, underappreciated joint will carry you a remarkably long way. So the next time you stand up and it makes that sound, that crunch, that click, that noise of furniture giving up, don't be angry at it. Your knee is not falling apart because it's badly made. It's the most overqualified joint in your body, holding a bowling ball on a dinner plate with a handful of string, on concrete, up the stairs, after a week in a chair, and mostly, astonishingly, getting away with it. Your knee is not broken. It was built for a softer world.